Welcome to the Porn Reboot podcast, where you get practical tips to gaining control over your porn or sex addiction. We help ambitious men end their out-of-control sexual behavior with pornography, sex, and masturbation so that you can maximize your life, perform at your potential, and remain in control in the driver's seat, which is where you have to be in order to gain or maintain the success you want in life. I'm your host, J.K. Emezi, certified sex and porn addiction recovery coach. Welcome to the episode. The private habits that quietly erode powerful men. Let me say something that most men at the top never hear. Power does not protect you from private weaknesses. In fact, it actually does a pretty good job of hiding it, as you can see with some of the things that have been happening in the United States with regards to the Epstein files. Now, I've worked with founders, with operators, and men who control 8 and 9 figures in assets. On paper, they're elite. Behind closed doors, well, they're kind of fragmented. Not because they lack intelligence, and it's not because they lack discipline publicly. It's usually because there's one private habit that's quietly draining their edge, and it never explodes. It actually just erodes slowly. So you don't wake up ruined. You wake up just slightly, a little bit more dull. You're slightly less sharp in meetings. You're slightly less present at home with your family. You're slightly more reactive under stress. So you keep thinking it's different things, or maybe I'm not getting enough sleep. Maybe something is off with my hormones. Maybe it's my whatever it is. That's kind of how it works. But here's the part that most people miss. And that is that high performers are more vulnerable to dopamine dysregulation, not less vulnerable. See, brother, you operate under constant pressure. And that pressure, it creates the need for relief. And digital stimulation provides instant relief for you. Because think about it, it is fast, it's private, and it's accessible. But there is a trade-off. All of that artificial intensity, my brother, that you're experiencing is going to make your life feel so much flatter. So anytime you need to have a hard conversation, let's say with an employee at work, a coworker, a vendor, even your partner, the conversation is going to feel so much heavier. Or when you need to do deep work, it takes so much longer for you to get into flow state. And you're like, fuck it, I'm not even getting into that state. And you don't experience intimacy anymore. It becomes very difficult to experience intimacy. As a matter of fact, you might start feeling irritated with your spouse. So it's not going to destroy you. That's the crazy thing. Porn doesn't destroy a high performer. It diminishes you. So when your edge gets dulled, everything starts costing you more energy. You're basically leaking energy. But here's a new frame that you may never have considered. I see so many men talking about the morality of, it's a moral issue, it's a moral issue. It has nothing to do with being a morality issue. It's more of an issue of being a sovereign individual. If you cannot regulate what you consume in private, then you cannot fully trust yourself in public. And what happens is that subconsciously, this creates internal friction. And that internal friction is very expensive. But what's the good news? Correcting this does not require you to confess publicly. That's why I'm not a big fan of a lot of programs out there that, show up to a 12-step group and be like, my name's John, my name's Bob, and I'm a porn addict. Tell your wife about it. Don't do all of that stuff. You are a high performer. You're not a regular dude. You cannot risk your identity collapsing. And this is why a lot of regular therapists and counselors do not have what it takes to work with certain type of men. You do not need a public confession. You do not need disclosure. It does not require identity collapse. It does not require you to label yourself as an addict, but it does require structure. It does require a predictable process, a reset process that restores you to a baseline dopamine sensitivity. So when you recalibrate that, 3 things happen. Firstly, your focus sharpens, your emotional volatility drops, and then your presence returns. So you begin to feel a lot more clear. You don't feel hyped up. And understand that your clarity is leverage. This isn't about becoming somebody new. You're already a winner. It's about removing the thing that's just quietly diluting you. So if you're a high-level man who suspects that there's some sort of a private leak in your performance, then understand that you don't need to be out there disclosing and engaging in drama with your partner. No, you just need to recalibrate your life. And there is a discrete, structured path for that. And it's built specifically for men who lead. And if you're one of those men, then you already know that the place to seek a conversation about this is the Porn Reboot system. So check out our links in the description. Get on a call, man. Like, your life is a little bit different from other people's. And let's see how we can support you. I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Porn Reboot podcast. I'll speak to you later on in the week. If you found this episode helpful, here are 4 ways I can help you with your out-of-control sexual behavior for free. The first way is to grab a free copy of my book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men at elevatedrecovery.org, or visit the link in the description below this episode. The second way is, if you're not sure where to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, if you'd like to spend time with like-minded professionals and business owners who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot group on Facebook. There's a link to join in the description below this episode. The third way is if you need help right now because you have a burning issue, your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally or emotionally, you're about to lose your relationship, you want to live up to your potential, be an authentic man, and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, then click on the link in the description below this episode that says free coaching call. And the fourth way is to leave us a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast, so that we can reach more men who are struggling in silence and bring back the lessons we learn from coaching them to freedom.